Welcome back to the Podcast Redeemed.
0.
We are here in the studio just having a really good time on a wonderful Sunday night.
Yeah.
No place we'd rather be than right here with you guys. So thanks for joining us. We're continuing on with the story of Joseph, and it's a great story. I enjoy this one. We've talked about how Joseph is in the process of fixing to reveal himself to his brothers.
Yep.
And we're up to that last part, okay? And up to this point, he's put them through several different trials, per se.
Yep.
And at this point, he's finally met Benjamin.
Yep.
And he's fixing to send him back to Canaan, but he's going to do something a little sneaky.
He is.
Okay. So he loads them up all with their grain again. He sees Benjamin. He gives them back Simeon, who's been in Egypt for 2 years now.
In jail.
Just hanging out.
Just hanging out. And but he gives the steward some extra instructions. And one of those is, of course, put the silver back in their sacks.
Yep.
And then he said, put my cup. His special, I don't know what's so special about the cup.
My special cup.
But it was a special cup.
The silver one in the mouth of the youngest one's sack.
Yep. And so that's what he did.
Yep.
And sent him on their way. Now, you think the brothers might have got wise the last time and opened those bags
Checked
before
it.
they
Yeah,
left.
let's check these real fast.
But they didn't.
Nope.
And so they start on their way. And what does Joseph do? Joseph tells the steward, okay, go get them. And so then the steward and his man, and you got to wonder about the steward at this point too. He's like, this is just weird.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're second only to Pharaoh,
You told me
but
to put the cup in there.
Uh-huh.
wait, you totally put the cup. Now I'm supposed to get. I don't understand. Whatever. Fine. I'm going.
He really doesn't like these guys.
Yeah.
And so the steward does what he's told. Because why? Because because Joseph's second command to Pharaoh. You just do it, you know.
Yeah.
So he goes and he does it, and of course there's a little bit of an altercation there, and of course he accuses them of what that they've taken this stuff, and the brothers are like, no, we didn't, and then one of the brothers speaks up, or maybe it was all of them. I don't know.
I believe it says Judah.
Judah, and it says if anyone has what you say is in the sack, then that person will become their slave. Which, that's pretty bold to say. I mean, you haven't looked in the sacks. You don't know what's in there.
And you know what happened last time.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and you say this. So, what is... and so the steward's like, okay, that's fine. But he says, I don't need you all. Basically, I just need the one. The one that stole the cup is the one that's going to become the slave.
Yep.
And lo and behold... Who's got the cup in their bag?
Benny boy.
Benjamin.
Come on, Benjamin.
And you got to understand you got to think at this point that the brothers are like, oh, crap.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We have made a mistake.
Dad is
Yeah.
not going to be happy.
Yeah. And as we were sitting here discussing this, you have to wonder about Simeon too at this point, because they just left him there.
Yeah.
But what did they do for Benjamin? They turned everybody around and go right back.
Let's go figure this out.
Right.
Don't
But not
worry, guys.
Simeon.
Yeah,
they left
Simeon,
him
we're
there.
just like, peace out. We'll see you in a couple of years.
Don't worry,
When
guys.
we might get Benjamin back here.
We'll all figure this out. We'll work together. Simeon's just in the back of the pack mumbling to himself.
They left me here for 2 years. Why can't they put it in?
All of a sudden, we just turn right back around. Turns out these donkeys do go in reverse, huh? It's crazy. Not a one-way donkey. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I have no proof that that's the kind of conversation they would. But if that had been my family, that would have been the conversation.
Yeah, that would have been brought up.
Yeah, you leave me
Yeah.
behind for 2 years.
Yeah.
And this is where you see the heart change in the brothers. Okay, they understood what Benjamin meant to their father,
Yes.
and they were not going to.
And we're showing back up without him.
Right.
We are not coming home without Benjamin.
Yeah.
And basically, Judah, make sure on that. Yeah, Judah went up and basically tells him, he says, take me in my brother's place because it will kill my father.
Yep.
And it was at that moment that Joseph realized that they had learned their lessons and their hearts had been changed.
Yep.
And it's shortly after this, Joseph could control himself no longer. And he says, have everyone leave his presence. And there was no one with Joseph when he made himself known to his brothers. And he wept loudly, so loudly the Egyptians heard him, Pharaoh's household heard him. And Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph. Is my father still living? But his brothers were unable to speak
Well,
because they were terrified at his presence.
yeah, it's a ghost.
Well,
Yeah.
and then they're like, well, has he forgiven us?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Is he still mad at us?
When we last saw him,
We kind of got money for him.
Yeah.
we kind of sold him.
But Joseph said to his brothers, come close to me. When they had done so, he said, I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now do not be distressed and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me here. Ooh. And the fact that Joseph understood that is also very powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He understood. He didn't have any grudge against his brothers.
Nope.
No, he just wanted to see if they had had a heart change.
Yep.
He understood
Absolutely.
while he was there. He understood that everything that happened to him was to put him in that position so he could save the remnant of Israel.
Yep.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, it just goes once again to show you the character and how in tuned Joseph was to God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, Joseph proves that time and time again, from the dreams to understanding why he's in the position he's in to understanding his brother's change of heart, if you will.
Yeah. And just the statements he makes here. So then it is not you who sent me here, but God. Now, how many of us, if we were put in the same position, went through everything Joseph could come out on the other side and say, God did this?
Not many.
Yeah. Now, granted, there were some pretty miraculous things that happened.
Correct.
You can't go from the prison to second in command.
To the penthouse.
Yeah,
Prison to
without
the
some
penthouse.
kind of miraculous something happened. But the fact that Joseph understood it shows you the kind of relationship he had with the Lord.
Yes, for sure.
And just the forgiveness that Joseph has. He could see through it. He could forgive his brothers and understand that he was put there for a reason.
Yep.
And so what does he do? He says, go back, get your father,
Yep.
bring him back down here. You guys are going to live in Egypt. I'm going to take care of you because that's why I'm here.
Yep. We got a pretty good life here, guys. I'm kind of running the place.
Yeah.
So go
And
get
not
Dad.
and not only that, Pharaoh hears word of it, and Pharaoh says, come on.
Yep.
And not only that, you don't have to bring nothing.
Yeah.
We'll give you all the best once you get here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it all worked out pretty well for Jacob and his family.
Yes.
Things change, like I said, after Joseph dies and that Pharaoh dies.
Yeah. Doesn't stay good.
No, doesn't stay good. But for a little while there, it's pretty good.
Things are good for now.
Things are good for now.
But once again, it's just God trying to get his people into the land that he wants them. That's what's
Yeah.
happening.
Yep.
And if they hadn't been enslaved and life hadn't been terrible, they never would have left.
Correct.
Life's got to get bad before you want to change.
Yeah, well, and it had to get really bad for some of the Israelites.
Because even when they got released and they were walking, they said we had it better in Egypt.
I
I
know.
go back to Egypt, where I was
As they
a
say in the
slave.
VeggieTales,
I was gonna
"We
say."
were in slavery." So anyway, God's got a plan. He's always working, but the forgiveness that Joseph has, the clarity that Joseph has when it comes to understanding the plan that God had for him, is just amazing.
Yes.
There is something powerful for us to learn there.
Absolutely.
Joseph is just an amazing story. And like
Yeah.
I said, he's one of those that I'm going to be kind of excited to get to sit down and talk face to face with once we get there. And then I want to talk to his brothers. I want to hear
Okay.
both sides of the story.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go. Listen, Joseph's gonna have a long line. I'm
Yeah.
going straight to Simeon.
How you doing, bud?
I don't think a lot of people are gonna be waiting in line to talk to Simeon.
Probably not.
Simeon, did they really leave you in prison
Yeah.
for 2 years?
2 years.
Hey man, how long was it really?
And you were in prison the whole time?
Was it prison or was it kind of house
I
arrest?
do wonder
or-
because at one point it says like Joseph and his brothers just talked. I wondered what that conversation was. Like, was it Simeon kind of stepping in and being like, "Wait a minute, what the
Hold
heck?
up. Guys? Really?
You know, the 2 years I was in prison, Joseph. What was that about?"
Yeah. You could have at least put me in house arrest.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.